All right, welcome back, family. Welcome to the week here at the Elephant Effect. It's your boy Stone.
Lady M.
All right, we're back with another glorious episode here in the Clarity series. All right, and this one is cutting through the noise. All right, clearing that clutter, chopping away all that unnecessary fat when it comes to this clarity game. All right, so if you're ready, grab a pencil, pad, lock in. Let's get it. Welcome back in. Like I said, this is Cutting Through the Noise, all right? Our second episode here, the Clarity series, all right? So without further ado, let's jump right in to topic number one, the silent cost of overcommitment, all right? Now, overcommitment, that can mean a lot of things, but stacking too much on your plate at one time can definitely frustrate you, send you on a path that you really don't want to go down. So let's tackle that. Let's nip that in the butt sooner than later when it comes to this clarity game, right? Because clarity fades when you say yes to too much, all right? When you start piling on too much, you start taking on too many responsibilities, you become cluttered, you become clouded, all right? And clarity is, hey, this is something that you gotta stay focused, you gotta stay honed in on, all right? So let's not overdo ourselves, let's not burden ourselves with too much. Let's keep our mind and our body aligned in one, and keep it focused on what we need to one step at a time, all right? Because every yes is an unseen no to something else, all right? So when you're saying yes to everything, then guess what? The thing at the back of the line is now a no. You no longer can satisfy that obligation, all right? So now you're just stacking it. I got people in my life who start a business every other week, and then they wonder why the first business that they started is failing, it's because you're not focusing, you're putting too many eggs in one basket, all right? So really hone in, really focus on and getting one thing at a time rolling and completed, because that's what we start beating ourselves up every week because, hey, we pick something up, put it back down, pick something up, put it back down. We never completing any task. So that can wear on your mental, and that can start to have that self-defeat mentality come creep right back into you, start nipping in the back of your mind like, hey, you always do this, you're gonna do it again, don't start this, because if you start, you're not gonna finish. All right, so let's stop those affirmations in our life and start preaching ourselves up and start completing these tasks. If you write it down for yourself, then complete it. Even if it's a small task, and that's where you really got to build your confidence. Just say, hey, today I'm gonna walk a mile. Boom, walk that mile. Don't walk half the mile and then quit. And like I said, you're not completing that task, but complete the task. Even if you say, simple as I'm gonna make my bed before I leave the house. These are all tasks that something simple that you can just propel yourself on to get bigger and greater things down the line. All right. Busyness isn't always progress. All right. It's noise disguised as movement. All right. So remember, we talked about this before. Just because you're busy and you're moving around, that doesn't mean you're being productive, all right? That just means that you're trying to keep yourself occupied and trying to keep your mind off of anything that you possibly could fail at, all right? So yes, let's be busy and let's keep ourselves going, but let's have it on tasks that enhance our clarity, all right? Not bog it down and not, dim our light, all right? And protect that bandwidth as if it were gold, okay? Hey, if you damper too much bandwidth at the house, your internet's gonna run slow. Your body's the same way. Protect that bandwidth. Don't put too much on it, all right? Take some of that off and let your internet run seamlessly and flow organically, all right? Don't overdo it.
All right, going into topic number two, separating signal from static. Oftentimes we have been so cluttered that we are acclimated to listen to static. Oh, wait a minute, I think that's my signal, but do not confuse the two. Learn how to distinguish signal from static. Train yourself to notice what matters, not just what screams for your attention. Oftentimes we run to what screams for our attention and forget what matters most. The loudest voice isn't always the truest one. So that goes back to oftentimes I can think about in school how the loudest person was the one that actually needed the attention. But in this aspect, knowing that it's not the truest one. The truest one is the one that's still, because we talked about stillness, and understanding and moving in clarity. And as we know, things that scream for attention is often confusion, is often chaotic. But in this instance, clarity means identifying what actually moves you forward. Is it going to take your attention where now you can't listen to what is true, where you can't focus on what matters? And so a lot of times we gravitate to what is calling for our attention in the moment, and we make it a project, and that project lasts for months and years and decades, and we get so consumed with the things around us that we never take time for ourselves, and we never focus and realize what's actually for us. Not all information is valuable. Most of it is clutter. And when you think of the aspect of people bringing you information, sometimes those are the things that we have to shift through as well. But getting around the right people so that they can bring you valuable information, as it pertains to what we've been talking about, making sure that you center people around you who are going to catapult you into the next area of life, and not those who are just coming day after day with situations that clutter your life. Because as we talked about in the last series, learning what to keep out of your mind, what to keep out of your aura, because oftentimes we get so cluttered, as I spoke on before, that those things start mimicking in our life because they have become things that we have picked up, and they have to come into fruition. So it all goes back to just separating signal from static, and making sure that your attention and your focus is definitely moving towards your greatness and receiving clarity and identifying what is going to help you move forward.
All right, that'll lead us right into number 3, the power of pausing. All right, and we've spoke on this a lot. And this is probably one of the most important aspects to it when you think about it. Just taking that time to, pause, and taking that time to reflect. In a world addicted to speed, all right, pausing is absolutely critical, all right, because everything is go, now. I need it now. I need to do this. I need to do this. I need to do that now. So take that time to, unburden yourself. Like I said, take it off your chest and just pause, relax, reflect, and live in the moment, live in that now, all right? Because clarity comes when you step back, not when you push harder, all right? Pushing harder, like I said, it only adds that tension, it adds that stress, it adds the unnecessary burden of having that deadline constantly hanging over your head. You don't want constant deadlines that really aren't leading to your growth. You want deadlines that are, productive, something that's maintainable, something that's attainable, for your life. So that clarity feeds off of that. It feeds off of that will and that want to accomplish these things. But when you pile it on, and when you do too much in too little time, then you start to hurt yourself, all right? And you strip yourself of that clarity, all right? This clarity that you've been fighting all this time for, all right? So stillness is where perspective sharpens, all right? It's where it sharpens, and it's where you really hone in on those skills, all right? So remember, don't be scared of that stillness, all right? A lot of us can't sit still because we feel like it's laziness, or feel like we're not being productive. But in the same aspect, like we said previously, a lot of your best moments and a lot of your best ideas and clarity comes from that stillness, all right? You can pretty much tackle any aspect of your life or any hardships that you're having in still moments, because you're not trying to do too much. You're not trying to move too many obstacles out the way. You're not having a bunch of information fly at you, like she said in the last topic. You have what you have in front of you, and you're very locked in, and you have your narrow vision locked in on what you need to do now and in your immediate future, all right? So a moment of silence can reveal what constant noise hides, all right? So that we need that moment of silence. You need that time to reflect. And like I said, it can reveal constant noise, all right? It can reveal what you need in the moment, all right?
Topic number 4, decision fatigue and the clarity drain. Every choice consumes energy, big or small. So when talking about big or small choices, just thinking about those big choices that consume all of your energy, can't get out of the bed, can't operate as you should, and then those even smaller ones that may have an even bigger impact, that may change people, places, and things in your life. Just think about the energy impact, and just making sure that you go back and you have that moment of silence to ensure that you're allowing your energy to be consumed in the right manner. Too many minor choices blur your focus on the major ones. Right. And so making sure that in this game of minor and major, you making sure that you're staying clutter free, so that you can focus on what is major. Because I promise you, those minor choices, when they come to blur your focus, it's because you have labeled something minor as major. And I know this happen so often. If you all have read any books about how to be strategic or how to make the best use of your time, it always talks about small rocks, the big rocks, and then those things that drain downstream. And oftentimes when you do that exercise, you realize that you have been making the small rocks the big rocks. And oftentimes, because it's our favorite person or it's our favorite things, we'll drop what's important for something that is minor. We'll make somebody else's problem our issue. And so when it comes to clarity, you want to make sure that this focus, it stays on you, and you learn how to prioritize and simplify your routine to save clarity for what matters, so that you're not bogged down. You're not consuming all of your energy on those things that are definitely small, or you're not letting those big things overpower you. Learning how to put and categorize or even compartmentalize those things that come into your life, so that you can create healthier habits. And then this will also create a more disciplined life. Discipline creates freedom from decision clutter. And so it definitely goes back to whenever you get into those situations where you want to be hands-on, you want to have control, as we talked about in other episodes, where you have to draw back, take yourself out of the situation and decide, is this a big rock? Is this a little rock? Or is this something that can flow downstream, so that you can have that freedom? Because all of this leads back to that freedom to operate freely in your body, to operate freely, to exist. And so you definitely want to make sure that you don't have decision fatigue. Like, when it comes to making certain decisions, some people are so consumed because they don't have clarity. They don't make the right choices because they're not clear within. It makes me think about the song that it says, how you're gonna win when you ain't right within. That's what this is about. We have this illusion of winning, but we have not taken the time to clean within, so that our inner appearance looks it resonates on the outside. And so definitely make sure that you're not being consumed and being drained by minor choices, and that you're focusing on what's major. And one major choice right now is you.
Come again. That's good. Absolutely. All right, I'll bring us right into number 5, distinguishing urgent versus important. All right, you gotta understand the difference between what's urgent and what's important. All right, so urgent tasks scream, important ones whisper.
That's it.
Okay. All right, so urgent tasks, remember, they scream. All right, the important ones whisper. All right. So most people live in urgency and never touch importance. All right, they live in the urgent. They go, but never focusing on what's really important. All right, and that goes right back to that stillness. Like I said, if you harped on it and you focused in on that stillness, you will be able to decipher easily what between the urgency and that importance. All right, because like I said, rushing to go do something, obviously it's not going to be something that you need to focus on. If it's got to be a rush, it's got to be now. Because that's not how we're living our life. We're not living in a rush or in a panicked state of mind. No, if it's something that needs to be done now, hey, let's focus in on how we can get this done at a later time and more effectively. Because if I rush into something right now, I'm not gonna have a clear mind. I'm gonna go into this project with a rushed mentality. So then I'm gonna rush it, and then it's not gonna be complete to my satisfaction. I want to be able to sit back and I want to be able to plan this thing out accordingly. All right, and that's the important side of it. All right, so remember that clarity is found in asking, will it matter a year from now? Well, or like really focusing in on that clarity aspect. Is it important now, or is it important a year from now? And that's what separates that urgency from that importance. All right, because urgent distracts you from your real purpose. All right, it distracts you from what you're really trying to accomplish, what you're really trying to gain, which is that clarity, which is that alignment. All right, so focus in on it. Hey, really know the difference. Like I said, that's going to be doing your homework, and goes right back to what I always say, knowing yourself. All right, doing your homework on yourself, knowing what's going to be a distraction for you, knowing that, hey, okay, what was bad for me in the past, now it might creep up and it could seem like an urgent issue, because guess what? I would have gave myself to it back in the day. So now you got to realize, okay, no, that's a backslide. That's a backsliding moment. I need to be focusing on what's really important. All right. So like I said, it comes with some self-discipline, and we beat ourselves up on it, and we beat you guys up on it as well. Self-discipline is definitely something that we all try to attain, and it's something that, it takes a lifetime to really gain and get right, but at the same time, it's vitally important.
Absolutely. I love that. Will this matter a year from now? I don't think we ask ourselves that enough because we have become so accustomed to speed, urgency, that we have become people of reaction and not proactivity. And so I always try to set myself up in most situations to be proactive and not reactive. So, and not to mention, I'm an overthinker. So I already see the end from the beginning from my perspective. And so this clarity is helping me as well. That question will ring in my ear for days to come. Right. Will this matter a year from now? Because I think that we get so fixated on, will this matter next hour, next 30 minutes, next 10 minutes, right, now, tomorrow, how will this affect me tomorrow? But if you declutter and silence the noise today, tomorrow you will win. Tomorrow you will own it. Going right into topic number 6, environment as a clarity multiplier. Your environment is everything. And so that's why it is vitally important when you are going through this whole process of alignment, of an enrichment, it's shedding yourself of those people, places, and things, because your surroundings shape your state of mind. I just think about those individuals who may have grown up a certain type of way. And then once they get out on their own, they sometimes go back into that same type of environment because that surrounding shaped their state of mind. But let's say you grew up in an environment, but you always kept your head in a book, or you always were learning, then on the inside, you were breeding something completely different. And so when it was time for you to move into a different space, you started surrounding yourself with better. You started looking from a different perspective, because I can obtain this. And so your surrounding is everything. And just making sure that you are definitely creating an environment within you that is going to flourish on the outside. A cluttered space breeds a cluttered mind. And so it goes back to, you are what you eat. If you allow so many traffic jams, that is completely what your life is going to be. One pile up after the other. And so just making sure that you free yourself, taking those moments to pause, taking your moment to ask yourself those important questions like, will this matter a year from now? And then taking those moments to revisit where you are in your life. Is this going to help me a year from now? Is my environment conducive to where I would like to go? So energy leaks happen when your environment isn't aligned. You have to make sure that you definitely are living your dream, because it's easy to get so sideswiped because it don't look like what you see, or it don't look like what you say. And so this is just making sure that you come into alignment. If you know that your alignment is you being successful, but you keep allowing these little opportunities to wow you. And when I say little opportunities, you may say to yourself, and I say to myself all the time, that I'm the first millionaire in my family, but I keep going out and applying for these roles and these jobs that are paying me minimum wage. At what point in a year from now am I going to be at millionaire status? Right. Or am I going to continue to reach for the stars? Am I going to allow the sky to continue to be my ceiling, or is it going to be my floor? At this point, you have to figure out, how can I get my life to shift? And it starts with you. Mm-hmm. It starts with you seeing what you have been saying. And so it goes back to what I stated. Your environment can be the clarity multiplier. Are you going to allow it to multiply your life where you no longer are afraid and you move forward? And sometimes we get afraid of the thought. We allow the thought to hold us back, to keep us stagnant. Mm-hmm. And so that's where it goes back to that energy being leaked. You cannot allow that energy to leak out into the wrong sources. We have to get aligned enough where if it does not look like what we have said, we know how to horn it in. We know how to sit in the moment and say, okay, wait a minute. How can I make the necessary adjustments to make sure that my state of mind is not cluttered and I'm moving in the right space? Right. Build spaces that sharpen, not scatter your focus. And that's the biggest thing. Don't get overconsumed. Think about what's big, what's small, and what is just dirt under your feet. And sometimes we pick that dirt up and we make a whole lot of lint. Seriously, if we think about it. So that goes back to being scattered and not focused. We'll make a mountain out of a molehill and realize that we have given all our energy to things that are not conducive to our alignment. This is about you. This is about you receiving your clarity and making sure that you are living in your freedom. And no, it don't have to be tied to anything monetary, but sometimes we have to get away from what we have been preaching. People, places, and things. People keep you stagnant. Things keep you stagnant. Our surroundings definitely keep us stagnant because, oh, I've been in this place for so long, or I've been at this job for so long, that you feel like you owe them some type of loyalty. But the loyalty will relies and lies in you. Let's be loyal to ourselves. And so what does that look like? And sometimes we're afraid to move in that capacity, but it goes back to trust. And when you have that clarity, now you trust yourself enough to know that where I'm headed, I can make it, I can sustain it, because I have taken the time to make sure that my environment is filled with people who are going to continuously encourage me. I have the affirmations, the thoughts, the push that I need that is going to catapult me into the next area in life. And now I'm walking in alignment, and I'm not afraid to be in alignment because I am no longer with those people who say, oh, you this, you that, or oh, look at you, big money, or this, that, and the third, trying to minimize your efforts instead of just joining along, instead of just unpacking their own fears. And so I'm telling you, this is worth you getting into a place of clarity so that your life can be amplified times 10.
Absolutely. Hey, that's probably the shining topic right there of this episode, because it's so good and it's so vitally important to clear your mess, clear your plate, clear your environment. All right, and you hear it a lot of times when they say, if you want to be a millionaire, get around millionaires. And that's a lot harder to do, because, millionaires aren't easily accessible.
That's it.
But that's getting outside of your comfort zone. You much rather go be in the slums with the slum because that's where you were, but go out, seek a mentor. They have mentors for everything and websites for everything. You put in whatever your passion is, mentor for it.
That's it.
And then get in that community. They have Discords. Surround yourself around that. Don't continue to go down that path that you were going down that you freed yourself from. No, get around people that are saying, hey, they're gonna challenge you. They're gonna challenge you every day. And when you don't get it together, hey, then they're gonna hold your foot to the flame, like you said. So, that's the topic of the night right there. I like that. All right, that's gonna lead us right into number 7. All right, the lens of long-term vision.
That's good.
All right, short-term clarity without long-term vision is fragile. All right, it's on shaky ground. All right, so you gotta have that short. In order to have that short-term clarity, you gotta have that end goal in mind. You gotta see it. Like she said, you gotta see it to believe it. All right, you gotta start living it. You gotta start breathing it. You know, you gotta fake it till you make it. But like I said, it's a lot deeper than that. But that's literally what it is. You know, I'm getting tired of saying it, but life is a game. Life is a game, and it's all how you play it. All right, you got to get in there, and you got to manipulate your mind and everything about you, and integrate it into this new lifestyle. All right, you can't just say it and then not live it. All right, because then you're not doing yourself a service. All right, you have to see it for yourself, live it for yourself, taste it, feel it, grab it, see it, envision it. Tell everybody around you that this is mine. All right, speak it to yourself in the morning, like you said, into the mirror. Say, this is mine, this is mine. Pray it to yourself. Pray. And I guarantee you, you're going to start to see those long-term visions come into fruition for yourself because you're living it every day. You're breathing it. You're eating it every day. All right. Anchor your actions in where you want to be 5 years from now. All right. And that goes right back to what I was just saying. Every action that you take, make sure that it's aligning with that future self.
Absolutely.
All right. Start making steps towards it. And like I said, that's why it's vitally important to get yourself maybe in front of a mentor, somebody who's already there, and they're going to set out a blueprint for you and say, hey, in the next 30 days, next 60 days, next 90 days, next 3 months, 6 months, this is what you need to be doing. And you don't have to follow that exact game plan, but follow a game plan for yourself, and then start to take those leaps and those bounds in those directions that you need to go, because it's going to help you, and then you're going to have so much clarity, you're going to have so much joy in your life because you're seeing yourself move towards that goal, and you're not staying stagnant and beating yourself up because you're not reaching these goals fast enough, right? You set out a blueprint and you're following it through. And now that 5 years from now, like I said, you're not going and applying for this dead end job. No, now you're moving in that grace and that momentum that you built for yourself. And now you're going to reach those goals. All right.
Absolutely.
Vision acts like a compass. All right. Without clarity, it drifts. Okay. So like I said, hone in, lock in, get your vision right. Make sure that you're not being swayed, you're not being pulled in too many directions, especially from people who don't have your best interest in hand. All right, keeping yourself locked in with yourself, most important, but locked in with those people that you surrounded yourself with, that little village that you built. Make sure that you're rocking and rolling with those people, and making sure that vision is staying clear. Okay, because decisions are easier when measured against legacy, not just today. All right, and that's what we're doing. We're building a legacy for ourselves. We're building a legacy for our family, our loved ones, and we're building something substantial. And we're building on a foundation of clarity. All right, so get your lens of long-term vision together and see it for yourself and feel it for yourself. All right.
Absolutely. That's good. And so I definitely hope that you all are walking this thing and understanding clarity for what it is. All right, going right into topic number 8, the weight of unmade decisions. Oh my goodness, this one is so good because we can all think about, and I know that y'all are so tired of us going back to weight and discipline, but it's closest to us because that's our life outside of everything else that we do. But just thinking about the unmade decision, right? So today we say, starting on Monday, I'm going to the gym. Monday come and you say, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. Tomorrow comes and you said next Monday, and next Monday becomes 4 years from now. Because you did not make a decision to choose you for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour out of 24 hours. And so indecision is not neutral. It quietly drains your clarity and your energy. So we often feel like I don't have time, I don't have the resources, But it drains us, because one thing for sure, we'll get so hyped up around things that we need to do, we want to do. And oftentimes that clarity comes when we're at peace, or we're in silence, or when we're taking that pause, ladies, that pause in the mirror, and we are able to see our body for what it truly is, and we have that moment of clarity. Because don't get me wrong, as a big girl, I was popping my stuff, but as I'm transitioning to this little girl, I'm also popping my stuff. So I say that to say, it's those moments when we have to take that for that picture, and then we look back at that picture, that pause where we get that clarity of, oh my God, I'm overweight. And so that's the decision. That's that unmade decision. And oftentimes we will allow a picture to drain our energy when that same picture was the picture that gave us clarity. And so I hope that puts that in perspective for you, that we have to get so fixated on ourselves that we realize that we deserve better, and we don't have to couple it with weight training or losing weight. It's in every area of our life. The longer a choice lingers, the heavier it becomes on our mind. And oh my goodness, this one hits home for me on so many levels. But I often think about, in the last episode, or the last, topic, I spoke about being a millionaire. And it's easy to get tied to your 9 to 5 because you're so comfortable. And oh my goodness, I'm gonna get outside of this box. But the longer I think about becoming that millionaire, and I think about, what am I gonna do with my first million, or what am I gonna do with my first 10 million, it begins to not just become heavy on my mind, it makes my stomach hurt to know that I'm still waking up for somebody else. I'm still doing this for somebody else. I'm still giving my Mondays that I'm going to be off when I work for myself for somebody else. And so even though I can think about times when I needed to let a relationship go, but the longer it stayed on my mind, the heavier it got. How hard it was to just coexist, because your mind was over the matter, and so you just thought, and it just lingered, and it ate at you. And so think about how consuming that is. And so that just goes to any choice that you ever have to make. If you don't have clarity, it will consume you. And so often the clarity you're waiting on only becomes after making the decision. And so that is so good, because we're so congested. Like, think about it. When you think about waiting for traffic to clear, what is it? It's congested. But then once you get through, what you see, oh, it was an accident. Now you got clarity as to why you just was waiting. And so that's the same thing. We get so heavy and we get so frustrated in the wait, when all we got to do is make a decision. So even when it comes to the traffic jam, we can make a decision in that moment to just pause, reset, and wait. It's going to clear up eventually. And just be glad that you're not the reason why the traffic is stopped. So in this aspect, it goes back to clarity, but it also goes back to extending yourself grace and appreciating the moment. You don't want to be so bogged down now that you can't ask yourself about a year from now. Because if you don't make those decisions now, you won't be here to make those decisions later. It's so many things that drain us and cause so many health issues. High blood pressure. Stress leads to so many things. When you tie in stress with the things that we put in our body, real talk, it leads to cancer. And so it's so many things that want to defeat us, that we have to be victorious in this area of our life of alignment and receiving clarity, so that we can make the best decisions all around. Because we can no longer allow decisions to eat at us. We just got to make sure that we understand this one thing, and I've been saying it since our first series, that this thing is not about perfection. It's about progression. And so progress is less about perfect decisions, more about removing the stuck ones. How many of us can agree that we are stuck in places in our lives only because we will not make a a decision, not a perfect decision, but a decision towards our greatness, a decision towards our progression. And so we all have areas in our lives that we are stuck because we are too afraid to move the clutter. We are too afraid to make a decision. And so we'll never receive that clarity until we understand that it's time for me to uproot and get planted somewhere else. And so I'm telling you, clarity is definitely about consuming your energy and making sure that you are spending it in the right places. But I promise you that the unmade decision is the one that's keeping you stagnant, is the one that is allowing you to not see past sea level. And so get to a place where you realize that this life is not about perfection, is about progression, and move towards choosing you so that you can choose wisely in every other area of your life. One thing I know about gaining clarity is that once you have clarity, things tend to just fizzle out of your life, because it's one of those things where clarity and confusion and chaos can't live in one place. It's just like light and darkness can't be together, because the light is always going to shine through. So be thinking of that. If you're in a dark place now, I double dare you to start getting light, to start becoming light, to start seeing the light, and the weights, the shackles, and the freedom that you deserve will definitely come into fruition.
That's good. That's good right there, boy. I tell you. That's good right there. All right, yeah, absolutely. You hit it right on the nose with that one. I realize clarity isn't about having every answer, right? It's about removing what doesn't belong, shedding those obstacles, shedding everything. It doesn't belong, so it can't fit in my clarity. Just like she was saying, light always gonna win, all right? And the light is that clarity in your life. So every time you cut through noise, simplify a choice, or step out on urgency, you reclaim that space for your vision. You reclaim that power, you reclaim that clarity, all right? The weight of indecision, the chaos of clutter, and the trap of overcommitment, none of these can survive when you decide to see clearly, all right?
That's good.
Clarity is not found, all right? It's built one choice at a time. All right? One choice at a time, one step at a time, one clear moment and decision at a time. Make those decisions. Don't be indecisive with your life, all right? Like I said, it's going to lead to a lot of clutter and a lot of chaos that you don't need in your life, all right? We're all about simplifying your life. That's what this whole series, this whole channel, The Elephant Effect, that's what this is all about. Simplifying your life and getting you in one accord to where you can start moving, a little bit carefree, at least within your inner being. If you start going outside yourself and start doing the foolishness, then that's on you. You ain't get that from us. But we're giving you a blueprint here to definitely go out and seek that clarity for your life. I absolutely love this series. I'm learning a lot from it. We're learning a lot from it. I hope you guys are taking it in as well. My back's been bleeding this whole time, because I've been sitting there hitting myself. I gotta take my bumps and my bruises as well when it comes to this clarity game, because I'm still learning myself. But absolutely, man, this has been wonderful. Hope you guys have been taking your notes. Like I said, let it resonate in you. This ain't something that you can just gnaw on and then spit it out. No, this is something that you gnaw and chew on it and then swallow. It's that bone marrow. A lot of people don't like to eat the bone marrow when it comes to the chicken wings, but my pops used to tear down on some bone marrow, and I understand it now. That's where the substance is. That's where the good stuff is. So take this. Take this in and do your due diligence, do your homework. Please share it with somebody. What? Yeah, like I said, please share it with somebody, who needs that clarity in their life as well. We all know somebody who needs it. So definitely hit that share button. You got any final words for them, Matt?
No, I don't have anything per se. I know every week I say I don't have anything, and then I go into my spiel. But I promise I'm not going to do that this week. The biggest thing is just making sure that you go back and you take this in, because I know that sometimes life can hold us hostage, and it's time to be free.
Yes.
It's time to walk in your clarity. It's time to walk in alignment.
But no, absolutely. Yeah, like I said, we got one more episode in this Clarity series for you guys coming up next week. Next Hot and Press is gonna be a good one to close us out the Clarity series. Like I said, hopefully you guys, like I said, go ahead and share this. Share this with your community. Share this with your people that need it. And go ahead and hit the comment section. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know your concerns. Let us know any issues that you're having with Clarity or any of our past series. Let us know. We love helping out. We love communicating with you guys.
Absolutely.
But as of now, we're going to go ahead and log off, get up out of here. You guys have a wonderful rest of your week. Have a safe weekend. And we love you.
Peace.
Peace.